All right, y'all wanna know why I was late?
Yeah,
Why were you
absolutely.
late?
All right,
Let's
so
see.
I want
Let's
to
hear
blame the
this.
devil, but let me go ahead and just blame myself.
You should.
So
Okay.
we riding along, and Gina's like, she looks in the back seat, and Taylor's just boo-hooing, crying, but she's not saying nothing, but the tears are just. And it's like, what's wrong, And she's like, my finger stuck, and she got a toy like stuck on her finger. Well, I'm new to this dad thing. I ain't used to it. I'm rolling. I am in a car rolling. And I'm just laughing. But then she's like, okay, we got to pull over. So we had to pull over. And it took me forever to get her finger out. And she just crying. And the whole time, I'm like, if this was a boy, I would have just yanked this thing off her finger. Like, that's what I would have
Yeah.
did. But you
You gotta
can't.
gently massage and turn and like,
Yeah, so we
okay, be careful.
put some
Yeah.
like Vaseline on it and stuff. And then finally got it off. But if it was a boy, I would have just one yank. But that's what took me so long because we had to pull over. And it took us a while to get that thing off.
That's
Oh,
wild.
blame the baby girl. I get it.
Right.
It's her fault. Anyways.
He said he'll be here at 11. That's what he said, right?
You said
Yeah, that took a good
you
2
were here
hours.
till later, so I was like, well, forget it. I'll just come later. We cleaned up the house and everything. Anyways, it's enough of that. It's good to
All
see
good,
y'all.
man.
Glad to
Scoot
be
in a little
here.
more so you better.
I'm trying to.
What, you can't
There
see
we
your
go.
eyes?
Yeah,
no more?
that's much better.
Goodness gracious.
Bless the camera.
I don't know about that part. You went a little far. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, how y'all doing? I don't even think I asked Junior that when we started talking.
Man, I'm chilling. I'm living life. Uh, I will say, yeah, I'm probably in a better headspace than I've been in the past like 2.5 years or so. I've been pretty good. So I'm blessed. I'm counting my blessings.
Okay.
What about y'all, man?
Well,
Ladies first.
as you know, my life has changed drastically in the last
Yeah,
6 months.
huge.
Today is a beautiful day because the sun's out, which means I got to turn the heater off. So we saving money.
Bills.
And if everything I say sound like it's related to a bill, that's just the phase of life that I'm currently in right now. I was like, I turned that heater off. I said, we don't need this today. Oh man,
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but it's
man.
a lot of transitions. I'm just getting used to everything, but it's a lot.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm doing okay. Life is okay. This last year's been a doozy for me. I ain't never spent this much money in my life. I ain't never.
Wait till you get a wife.
Goodness gracious.
Man, you telling me?
Yeah,
Dude, it's crazy. Like this past week, of course, my wife's birthday is on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So this past week, it was like, oh, we at first we were gonna go travel. We were gonna go back home to California, like spend some time, whatever. But plans changed because she had to end up going like a couple weeks or maybe a month or so earlier with emergency with a friend of hers, and so we were just like, oh, we'll just go later because we're supposed to go later in the year, like in end of April. I'm not really quite sure. So we was like, nah, we're just gonna do a staycation. At first, I was like, nah, I'm about to just take my time back. I'll just go to work that week. But I was like, nah, I'm tired. I'm gonna take my week off. So we went we went everywhere and just spent a bunch of money eating different places. And I mean, a bunch of money. And I was just
Hey,
like,
what's your favorite spot though? Y'all went different places.
So we went. Well, we like this place in Fort Worth called B&B Steakhouse. We went there. It was cool. It's cool. It's like it's pricey, but it's not like crazy pricey. Well, it can be. I don't know. It can be. But it was cool. But we went to Hutchins. We drove all the way to Hutchins Barbecue
Dang, y'all was
and
down
bought
here
a
by
bunch of
us.
stuff. Yeah, not too far from y'all. And ate good. It was really good.
Did y'all go there because of Keith Lee?
Well, I've already told her about this place before, but she saw the Keith Lee video and then she was like, "Oh yeah, now I want to go." I'm just like,
So
sure.
your word wasn't good enough. Needed to
Nah, exactly. That's you'll learn that whenever it's it's just like you can come up with a great idea, but it's just like it's coming from you, so like I don't think that's a good idea. Then somebody else says it's just like, "Oh wow, it's like liquid gold for you." Then it's just like, "Oh, say it again." Like, I'm like, nah, it's crazy. I don't get it. But we ended up going and we had a good time. And we just spent a bunch of money doing other things and bought a couple, we went shopping a little bit and everything. But yeah, it's taxing. It taxed, and then of
Oh,
course,
your tax money hit.
we ain't even filed yet. So,
Hey, listen, man. So this year I got a dependent.
ooh, we about to cash out.
Hey, where y'all want to go?
We gonna come to your house ASAP. We gonna barbecue. You gonna
Yeah,
get the
no,
good
for real,
meats. You
for
gonna go to
that.
Central Market get the good meat from there.
Yeah,
The good
Put that
stuff.
on the
it
grill.
ain't hit yet, but when it hit, for sure, it's all on me, for
Ooh,
100% for sure.
Yeah, I gotta
man.
get one of them. Their dependents.
Yeah,
Yeah, I might be working on a dependent too.
yeah.
Come on, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Bless the Lord.
Yeah,
How long y'all been married?
like 7 years next month. Was
Oh,
it
that's
next
more
month
than
or
enough
month
time.
after
Yeah,
next?
yeah.
Y'all had more than enough time by yourself.
Yeah, yeah. We've been chilling. I kind of do appreciate the time of like we ain't gotta think about nobody else. Well, I mean, yeah, we don't gotta think about nobody else for the most part. We can just go.
Yeah.
But we've been getting a little like the dependent fever. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
A little
Yeah,
bit of
ooh.
it.
everybody told me when I got married, they was like, "Don't have a baby right away," and I'm like, "We already got a kid."
Yeah, that's out of the
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I don't
That's
have
already
that.
out
I
the
don't
window.
have that. So yeah, so that's why we just went ahead and
I mean, it's different for everybody. I think for me or for us, it was needed. Like we needed that at that time
yeah,
because we needed to figure things out. Just because how we were brought up and like how we mesh, we needed that time to like
yeah,
figure each other out more.
Mm.
And I'm everybody's not the same way. Like some can pop the kids out and they can still be good and be solid on their road, and get it going. Some of them pop them out and then that just
and
breaks
end up
down everything. And I'm just like, yeah, maybe you should have held tight, but it's a
Mm-mm.
blessing either way.
I
yeah,
ain't trying to do that.
Yeah, nah. It's crazy because people always say like, "Oh, you can't plan," and I'm just like, "Well, you probably can't fully control everything, but you can have a plan."
I think you should
Like,
have. But,
I don't know why not.
oh,
yeah,
thank you.
like the unexpected can happen. I'm just like, yeah, it can, but like you can plan to try to make sure the unexpected does not
You
happen.
know what's funny about the unexpected happening? You know exactly how to make it happen.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's only one way to do
exactly. There's only one way.
it. Is it really that unexpected? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no, it's really not.
Like,
You have a lot of control in that area, thanks to a lot of things. And that may be like a passed down mentality whenever there was less control, back in
I
those
mean,
times and
even then,
days.
like,
But
even
even
then,
still, there's only one way
only
for
one
it to
way.
happen.
there's always only been one way
Because
for the
there's plenty of
longest
other
amount of
things
time.
that you can do, and
Oh my
still
goodness.
engage in
And as a Christian man, you know the whole list.
absolutely. There's plenty
Because
of
my
things that
teenage
can be
years,
done.
we ran through that list.
Absolutely.
Bruh.
Lord forgive me.
Yeah.
I was
Mhm.
I was talking to somebody that was like, man, I don't know how I ended up in this situation. I was like, you don't know how. Like, because I can tell you how it happened
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're
Were you living
unsure.
outside of yourself at that time? Like, were
Come
you
on
just,
now.
did
Like,
you let something else take over? Do you need to cast
oh
something
my
out?
goodness.
Mm.
So that's always funny to me. I mean, I understand what
Uh,
people mean. Like, this
yeah,
isn't
nah.
the plan, but I've so one of my friends, they ended up pregnant by somebody that they're not with anymore.
Mhm.
And it was like, man, I really don't know how. Like, I wasn't expecting this at all. And I was like, oh, you just weren't ready to be pregnant. It was like, I mean, that too, but like, I just didn't think that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, oh, so now we're getting down to the nitty gritty of how this thing. So you didn't understand that if you and he, that this was a, and you didn't put any firewalls up to keep it from happening
Yeah,
either.
that's pretty sad.
Hmm.
I don't know what you expected. Like you do know
Yeah.
this is what's
They
supposed
didn't
to
update
happen.
their Norton subscription. They didn't,
You need
they
to
didn't, they didn't pay their VPN bill that month.
oh my goodness. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh
You gotta
snap.
pay
So
that VPN. You gotta make sure them, viruses can't get through.
yeah. And this is
They
what we were talking about earlier. This is why I'm gonna have that conversation with them students. Like, yo, yeah, y'all gonna be real surprised but this is a very practical thing. Like it's really step by step. So don't be shocked when one day all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, now I'm in this situation, because like you have all the control of whether or not you're in this situation. It's
True.
literally up to you, especially as the man.
Yeah.
It is completely up to you
Mm-hmm.
every step of the way. So like, yo, we got to pay attention to these things.
Because they gotta realize, like, when you become a man, even when it's not your fault, it's your fault.
Bars. Can we put that on the screen?
Yeah.
Like when we get the
Do we literally?
bars?
Oh, I'm put it up there. Hold on.
And you know what? And guess what? I accept that it's my fault. It's just my fault. Just for the record, so nobody gets upset. It is my, but it like a lot of what I've been hearing, just like on social media and places and stuff like that, is just like that. I like that. Like on social media and different places, just like as far as black men go, like, they're supposed to be the leaders of our, communities and everything like that. And in certain climates, like, we're not doing the best of jobs in most of our. And I'm like, I can agree to a lot of that, and I can agree to into the as far as whatever uh, what we're setting forth to be the trajectory of our households, like, is important. I don't even want to say that like it's weird, but like it is, it's fully important. So, but we have the ultimate handbook to like teach us the best way that we can do that. But it's tough because I do see residuals of like what previous generations go through trauma that kind of passes down to their kids, and this is how our generation reacted, and then the next generation after us, like, they're reacting in a different way. And I think hard times breed like hard workers, and then like easy times breed like lazy. And so it's a constant cycle, but we got to try to figure out a balance and figure out like how we can, as a community, like be more forward in our thinking as far as like family aspect and how to make things simpler, so we don't have to worry about the heat coming so hard down on us, like, as black men and everything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I just try to do my part. I don't try to overthink it anymore. I'm just like,
Yeah.
look, I'm gonna do whatever I can do daily to like be a good representation of like how to be a good example towards like my brothers or my family members or my coworkers or whatever I can be.
Whoever's seeing you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then like I'm just fortunate. All I've had was good role models. Like my parents been married 30 years. My dad been there for me every single day, And then my brother, he been married 10 years, and that's a huge role
Dang,
model.
been 10 years already?
10 years.
That's crazy.
So like I see black men like sticking with their families, supporting their families. And so that's just like, to me, it's like that's just the model that I follow. I was fortunate for that. And then as a result, like if someone didn't grow with that, let me be that model to them. Cause
exactly.
Like that's just what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to show people like there is different out there. And it's good. Like me and my wife, you can catch us every single night watching TV, laughing our heads off. Because like when we get home, we're gonna laugh about Taylor getting her finger stuck in that toy tomorrow, And I just want to show people it's a good thing, And I've only been married 6 months, so I can't talk like you 7 years, but you've
been married as long as me. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever.
He ain't there yet.
I don't even have a girlfriend right now.
Man, it's all good. We'll get you one after, we'll get a couple podcasts in.
Hey, man. Hey, don't tell it.
Sure. I was telling everybody find somebody for me. I was telling everybody. I told you, Junior, I don't know.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. I was like, look, find somebody. Man. Taking all referrals.
I don't blame you one bit, brother. That's a good thing, man.
I can't say too much, but there might already be somebody.
Okay.
There might be somebody.
Exclusive.
Yeah, hey, all I can say is time will tell.
All right.
Yeah. The time has currently put a pause on things, but there may be somebody there already.
Okay, okay.
You'll
We'll
see.
have to inquire more about this here.
All I'll say is don't be surprised if one day y'all see something and you're like, oh, look at Miles. Just don't be surprised. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Listen.
relationships, I
Mhm.
hate to switch gears here. Can we go ahead and start talking about that thing we was talking about? Uh,
Yeah, let's get into it.
can we? Because
I think it's a good
I've been
segue.
holding this for like weeks.
Yeah, I've been
Hey
wa-
man, hey man, if you got something on your chest,
No, I'm gonna let y'all start it. Like, I'm gonna let y'all just.
all right.
All
So
right. So how do
listen,
we
listen, y'all.
go ahead?
Listen,
Introduce it for us, Miles. Let's get
we
into
were
it.
speaking about like what are some things we're gonna hit on, and one of the things we're gonna hit on is relationships. Now, this ain't anybody saying this is not about to be one of those podcasts where it's men versus women all the time. That's
We love
not it at
women
all.
over
In
here.
fact,
Yes,
we
that's not
we
it.
were raised in the church, and so the
Mhm.
first thing we're gonna go to is relationships in the church and
Mm.
how somehow, some way, for some reason, it's always these folks that feel like God has told them who your husband, who your wife is supposed to be, but for some reason, God hasn't been able to communicate that same message to you,
Yeah.
right? So that's what we're gonna deal with
Exactly.
right now. Is the times when your husband, your wife, well, for us, it would be wife, was
Mhm.
presented to you by somebody, maybe sometimes by the woman herself, but
Mhm.
God hadn't told you that same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Black
Yeah.
Church 101 right there.
Oh man. So I mean, I can start with me. Of course, I've been in church all my life, as y'all two have been as well.
Amen.
Mhm.
And when you grow up, I believe the elders and the people of the church, they get used to you. They say, "Hey, oh no, little junior, are you growing up?" And they become fans of different things. And just like I think human beings as a whole, like we like to categorize things and put things in
Mhm.
boxes and pair things together. And some people just like to do that uh in their own personal prayer time, and or they spiritually see those things for
Hmm.
other people. And so without getting into it too much in detail, I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, I think the Lord's been telling me about this. I want you to pray on this about this person." And I'm just like, "Yes, ma'am." And at the same time, I'm like, "No, ma'am."
No, ma'am.
Absolutely not. And I'm
Hey,
just like, look, I will always, yet pray. But when it comes to relationships, it always was okay. Especially, let's go back here because I think this is where we should build from. When you're a young, you know, uh, young person coming up in the church, and you're really involved and eager and like wanting to learn, and you're seeing these examples of people who you look up to, and they come and tell you something in that manner, it can really throw the
dangerous.
trajectory off. It's a little bit dangerous.
Dangerous.
And especially because we're so impressionable, like we're really trying, we're really striving, trying to seek Christ and like do the right things and everything. And so you got to be careful with what you may see on a natural level. Like you're just like, oh, I really do like these two people together for some reason. And you got to be careful not to like put your own personal feelings into that, because and that's to me
Yeah.
that's not right. But I'll let you. I digress. I won't get in too much. I want to hear from y'all because I kind of
No,
yeah.
definitely. At least they told you to pray about it because mine was more direct. Mine was, it was like, hey, God said this is your wife, right? And I heard this from a number of people for the same person. So I'm like, maybe God is, and I'm like 16. All I want to do is what God says, right? I'm
Mm-hmm,
young, I'm impressionable. I don't know nothing about the prophetic, nothing like
mm-hmm,
that. And I'm like, well, if God said it, let's go for it. And for me, without saying too much, it just put me in a bad situation where I'm chasing after this person and they just weren't healthy for me. Just put it that
mm-hmm,
way, right? And I think it would have been better, like if you really feel that, I think it'd be better for you to just be like, hey, pray about it. Or even more so, just be like, God, reveal it to them.
mm-hmm,
Because you're talking to these teenagers who are looking up to you, and at that point your word is as good as it gets. So for me, it just happened. I was in a bad situation
mm-hmm.
trying to do what God said. And then
Exactly.
when I ended up finding my wife, there was no like God said this or God said that. But I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and one day
Mm-hmm.
he was preaching, he was like, God don't pick your spouse, you do. And I said, ooh, now
I was
that's
gonna
a
touch on
word
that.
right there, right? It's like
For
I've
real.
already prepared you with how to make good decisions. I prepared you with how to critically think. I prepared you on what to look for in a person. And as a father, like I want to see you go out and use what I prepared you to do. And
Exactly.
that's what I needed. And so I just anybody that be like, oh, God said that's your spouse, you be careful with that because you can lead
Gotta be.
somebody down a real dangerous path trying to fulfill your prophecy. Ain't got nothing to do with God.
Trying to fulfill your prophecy.
Exactly.
Yo, that's
Exactly.
first of all, that's a bar. First of all, secondly, so me personally, I haven't experienced that. I thought you were gonna go into a little bit more detail. I was ready for the tea to come out, but I guess we're gonna say the tea.
Maybe
We're gonna
another
say the
day.
tea for
It's
later.
episode 1. You know.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
Okay.
can say same here because there was another instance, but we'll get into
Yeah,
it.
this
Yeah.
episode
Okay.
1.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, but I have actually. Let me think about it. I haven't had that experience where someone said, like, this person is for you, or that person came up to me and was like, I believe I'm supposed to be your wife. And I'm thankful I didn't have that experience because that's not something I want to wrestle with.
Mhm.
But I personally, in church in general, I got something that's just annoying to me. The idea that God has picked everybody's spouse for them. I
Mhm.
don't find that idea in scripture.
Mhm.
I think for some, God did choose your spouse. I think for some
Yeah.
people, like, yo, I got this person is made for you. But generally speaking, like, Isaac grows up and Isaac wants a wife. And Isaac isn't told that, hey, this person over here is your wife. Isaac is told, go get one. You want a
Mhm.
wife? Go get a wife.
Yeah, that's good,
Like
boy.
that's his instruction.
That's good.
Exactly.
Go find one. And then you read scripture and it's like, okay, when you get a wife, these are the things you want to get. It's never this is the person. It's these
Mm.
are the traits you want to look for.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah, let me jump in there because you all of something you piquing my interest because the scripture says whosoever finds a wife, not like
Mhm.
whosoever finds the one woman that I assigned just for you. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Well,
Mhm.
okay, I didn't even cut y'all. Keep going. That was good right there.
so yeah, it's like you got all these things that you should look for in the kind of woman that you should marry or the kind of man that you should marry. And then you even get like when it comes to relationships, if you grew up in the kind of churches we grew up in, you always get the relationship of you got Ruth, right?
Yeah.
And she was told to go after a specific man for a specific reason, and she was told how to go get that man. She was not told this is your husband.
Mm.
She was told this is the guy you should go for because
Because of
of
XYZ.
the situation.
That's right.
But that was not presented to her as this is what God said is your husband. And it's not like there weren't prophets around at that time. It's not like the word of God wasn't there. Not like God didn't speak to people. But for some reason, you read scripture, you never find God created one person specifically for you. But when
Mhm.
you come together, all right, God's there in the midst. Well, what God joins together, let no man separate. It's not until you come together is God there as the decision maker, unless
Exactly.
God is doing something special for you, which God
Mhm.
does special things. Like, so I'm not saying that it will never happen, but to make that the rule in church, that really just gets under my skin.
I
Because, like,
feel you.
what
And
scripture are y'all pulling that from?
yeah, exactly. And even on another practical level, it's just like you can ask God for confirmation on something. Like if you make a decision, just
Definitely.
talk with someone and you say, hey God, is this the right person for me? Reveal it to me. So I know, or this, and even in that, I truly believe it's just God can confirm, like, hey, this person is for you, or person can become something successful for you, or He will reveal the parts of that person that's gonna, put the light in our eye to say, okay, wait a minute, I need to maybe move somewhere else, or I may need to change something. But ultimately, it's still our decision. Just like as we bring something to God and we give it to Him, like a gifting or anything like that, to say, I'm giving it, I'm putting it in your hands to make it to what it needs to be. I'm putting here's a presentation of the relationship that I may think this person might be good for me here. Like, help me in my decision making, God. That's good because you're still making the decision, but God's
Yeah.
gonna allow you to have proper discernment to see, like, okay, is this something that you're willing to deal with? Because I'm going to show you this, and not to say that this can't be successful or that you can't, put this before me and we can make it happen, but are you willing to deal with this? And this is how the trajectory of your life is going to be if you make this decision. And so that's what needs to be more so taught, is instead of like because I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say, let's say if I was, if I lived in, if I grew up in France or something, first, just somewhere else, I believe there's somebody for me there.
That's a
If I wasn't
fact.
able to contact my wife here, I don't
I'm not
believe that it
leaving
was
number
it was
one.
one per exactly.
Yeah.
It's just whoever I decide, because God gave us as a man the keys to, you know, um, put forth into marriage. And if I'm going to bring it before God, and how I treat it from then on is going to determine how successful it is. And God will honor it if I honor His word in the relationship with that person. But
Yeah.
I gotta decide. Like he
Yeah.
puts he puts the ball in our court, like literally.
I'm
And
like,
so
well,
yeah,
oh, my bad. Go ahead.
nah, man. But yeah, just to go off of that, it's just like, when people come up to me and be like, hey, I believe this is what the Lord said, or somebody told me like this person isn't for you, or they literally told me like, oh, I don't believe this is the correct person for you in your life. And I'm just like,
Oh,
yeah, you a
so
lie.
I have gotten that. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I've gotten is not her. I've never been
Hmm.
told this person's good, this person's
Yeah.
good, but I have been told not
And
her.
it's cool to look, I won't even say cool. I would just say it's okay if your opinion, if you have the proper relationship with me and say, I don't know about this one, I can take that from somebody that I'm close with. But for somebody who I don't even really know like that to come up to me and tell me God said that this isn't it, and God has only been fruitful in my relationship, I, I don't know what this. I was like, yeah, I don't know which, maybe we weren't talking about the same person.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. But yeah, craziness. Yeah.
I'm gonna circle back to something you were saying just a couple minutes ago,
Yeah.
like like as far as practicality goes. So I came out of a bad relationship prior to meeting my wife. She comes out of a bad one too. So we was both concerned, like before I say I start dating somebody, I want to make sure it's right. And so
Mhm.
we were really hung up because we're both church kids. So we was really hung up on like hearing from God on this. And
Mhm.
I remember I was like, we was going down to Gonsalves Church. I was like, God, this is a perfect time for you to, tell me something, you know what I'm saying? And like there was no answer, but what I eventually took from it was like me and her were so hyper focused on God's will. That's how I knew it was the right one. Cause that's what I
Mm.
wanted in my life. Like we were hyper
Mm.
focused on like, I don't want to make a step without God saying it. And like he never told me, and I don't believe he ever told her, but we both saw that we were focused on God's will. And that's the type of person I wanted in my life. Somebody that's gonna see God's will first. So just like our hyper focus on that, let me say, oh, that's where I wanted to go. So just being
Exactly.
practical about it. Like I never got from God, this is your wife. I never got that. But
Hmm.
I
I
saw
got
good
a
qualities.
I got a question for y'all since, I ain't never been where y'all are now.
Hmm.
That first year of marriage, or for you, first 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
what is that like?
I'll let
It
the
is
go first.
it it is it's tough. I would say in the beginning it's a little bit easy, a little bit, just because there's a lot of excitement. This is your person. We move in together. Everything happens, and it's just like, okay, now we can start our like fairy tale of a life.
Mm-hmm.
Just because infatuation with each other, everything. And especially in my situation, we had talked for quite a while before, and yeah, so but coming from two different places, two different worlds, and it seems like it's not. Before you get into it, it seems like it's not two different worlds. Really, it's just like, oh, this should make sense to her. Like, when you're hungry, just go make a plate. Like, you don't got to worry about if I got anything to eat or anything like that. Just go make a plate. Like, it's not a big deal. But like, I learned very quickly, like, I better not go in that kitchen and make something, and she don't get a piece or a bite or nothing, or I don't make anything for like, just that's just how I grew up in my household. Like,
Yeah,
we didn't cook for everybody at every time. Like, if you needed some food, we would just go and get it. And
yeah,
that's just how it was. It wasn't a big sit down together, we eat together, all that kind of thing. But that's just one of the small things. So figuring that stuff out, and really, like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be transparent. Figuring out that I sucked at being a husband the first year was like that was like hard for me.
Mm.
I was like, man, like not that I don't think my wife ever got the indication. Well, I mean, maybe she had. Well, I feel like she's expressed it at some point, but like that, oh, he doesn't care sometimes, and on some things I didn't care because I didn't know, like, I didn't know where to come from. I didn't know how to understand or how to see it from that other perspective or why she put so much importance
Yeah.
into certain things because I just never thought about that stuff. Like
Because we're
I,
not.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And so how important certain things is certain, and how important like time with each other is even in leisure time, like, or just checking on a person like consistently, or even just I was just so fixated on how things were before, and I'm just like, okay, the only thing that's going to change is we're going to sleep in the same room, like everything else is going to be fairly the same. And I was so far from the truth. And so it took me some time, and like I was honest with her like later on in life when we talked about our past and our first year in our apartment together. uh it was like it was very trying, I will say. But I believed we still had the mentality of like, we set the precedent in the beginning of our marriage, like, hey, look, I don't believe in I believe in divorce under the right circumstances, but I don't believe that's a conversation I want to have. We want to work through any type of issues or concerns that we have, and it's going to be times, and I knew this because of the examples I had in my life through my parents, that there's going to be times where it's going to suck. Like there's going
Yeah.
to be times where I'm going to be feeling like I'm giving 90 and you're only giving 10. And in that same time period, you think I'm only giving 10 and you're giving 90. And we're just like completely on different planets at that point in time.
Yeah.
But we understood, and I believe by having a godly foundation and having solid people in our lives that can like really, not necessarily people that just pick sides, but they want to see exactly what's going on, and true concern for us, and then having a foundation of people like that presented at least an example that we can glean from, whether it's positive or negative, because sometimes it
Yeah.
was negative. We were able to stick through it, and then like just better years came. Not we still have more tests and more times and things like that, but we have a way better understanding of each other, even more so now as a couple. So yeah, I can keep going on and on, but I definitely want to hear what Miles has to say. I mean, not Miles, LB the Great.
um. So let me see. The question is, what the first year is like?
Yeah.
Uh, Goodness, it's every emotion you could possibly imagine, and then times it by 10. So just a little background for us.
Pause. Pause. I just want you to know that sounds scary.
It
It
Okay.
does.
is true.
It
That
it, kind
sounds
it
scary.
gets scary, bro.
It
It
is.
does.
It's all that. Like it's all that. But just a little background on us. We started dating long distance,
Mhm.
and she didn't move to Texas until like a month before we got married.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Mm.
bought the house, she moved into the house because we Christian, so we don't shack up. So I bought a
Mhm.
house, she
Same.
moved to the house. I'm living with my parents for like so we were only around each other 24/7 for a month,
Mhm.
before we got married. And so getting married was like it felt like a huge relief, right? It was just like we finally did it because that was a hard like you date long distance for 2 years. I don't
That's
know
tough.
nobody else who do that. You have
Mhm.
to really believe like this
Yeah, I couldn't do
woman
it.
is
It's not for everyone.
you gotta really believe this woman is like who like is the partner for you, right? And I
Mhm.
thoroughly convinced. So like just having her here, it was a huge relief. So getting married for one, it's a huge relief. Um, you learn a lot about yourself. Like Junior said, like you learn a lot. Thankfully, like we started counseling like 6 months before we got married.
Nice.
So that was real helpful. And like Junior
Mhm.
said, I see where I suck at a lot of places. Like I said, it's because I'm a guy. And guys, we're single minded and the
Mhm.
extra stuff don't matter. And like so I have to tell myself like this matters to her. And I have
Mhm.
to tell myself that because
Yeah.
it still because it matters to her don't mean it matters to me. It just means
Exactly.
I need to make it a priority.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
it's been a
Yeah.
lot, man. It's been a lot of growth. Like I tell people all the time, 6 months ago, I was staying in my parents' house playing Madden with my brothers all day. now I got a wife, a mortgage, a step kid, a baby on the way. You
Mm,
know,
Sport didn't
so
waste no time with the baby.
it's literally every emotion, but I
yeah,
now feel fulfilled. Like I feel complete. Not
man.
like complete as in over, but like I'm getting to some. My wife says marriage is her ministry, right? And I feel that too. Like
Hmm.
it's something that I always wanted to do, and now I get to do every single day. Like I love taking care of Taylor, like,
Hmm.
and she loves it when I take care of her. And she was in the room knocking on the door. I'm ready for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? And like it was crazy because I hate cooking, but I love taking care of her. Like that is something inside of me. So I get
Yeah,
to have these roles that were dormant or just I didn't get to fulfill, and I feel like I'm doing what I was put here to do.
absolutely,
Uh,
man. Yeah.
but it's scary at times. Yeah, definitely, it's scary. I talk
Hmm.
about bills all the time. You know, I've never had to. I never had to worry about somebody else. So if I ain't got no money, then okay, I'm gonna just sit at home. Now, if I ain't got no money, the kid don't eat. That's not an option. You know,
Hmm.
so it's scary like that. I'm always thinking about that. I'm always thinking about, I say all the time, like, what's for dinner? I don't know. Just make sure Taylor eat. I'll figure out the rest of it.
As long
So
as she got something, I'm good. I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together.
yeah,
But she
but
need to eat.
also it's good though. Like I
That's
said,
right.
I can open up myself and express myself in ways to Gina that I haven't been able to do to nobody else. So I have that safe place too. So marriage is good. I don't know if you know about the dream. I also know like Gina got really sick. Like we only been married 6 months. Like
Oh
that's a
man,
little fast for somebody to get sick. And she got really
man,
sick. So for a time there, I was like, taking Taylor to school, picking Taylor
Hmm.
up,
man.
um, trying to double duty and all that stuff. So I got to see the for health for sickness portion of it already, and I like the health part a lot more.
The health part's
Yeah,
a lot easier to deal with.
it's a lot better. But I don't know what
Yeah,
to say. I just feel more complete. I feel like an adult now. I don't know. It's a lot.
yeah.
That's
It's
something we were talking about before we started recording. It's like,
yeah.
when did that switch happen for you to be like, oh, I'm really an adult now?
That's funny. Did you see my Facebook status today?
Yeah, I laughed at it earlier when
Didn't
we were
see it.
talking.
I said I feel like a kid cosplaying as an adult.
I think I did see that actually in passing. Now
Like,
that you said,
yeah, I said I feel more of an adult. I didn't say I feel 100%. And I said that because I took the trash out today, and like in my community, like all these houses. And so when I
Mhm.
went to take the trash out, my house, because I own a house now, you know what I'm saying? Um,
Hey, let's go.
there was like another guy out there, and he was taking the trash out too. And I looked at him, and I was like, that looks like an adult. Like I don't feel like I look like that. That's what I think. But
Does
I
it
don't know.
have anything to do with the trajectory of how far your head is from the floor? Like, you're a little bit shorter? Like, is
You're
that
not that
a?
much taller than me. Like I get the right pair of boots. We gonna be like this.
Well, I have to flex that. Any chance I get, because I mean, I don't have a hairline, so I gotta
You
use
got-
something. I gotta use whatever I got. So, if it's anything between us, that's the one. That's the one low blow I'm going.
Oh, he
Is
came with
yeah,
the short jokes.
yeah,
Oh, but man,
to,
my
to put a cap on what you
yeah.
said
You
though,
see, this
Miles.
hat is gonna remain on my head this whole time.
To put a cap on it though, like honestly, I've seen marriage elevate my ministry in just a few short months. It's elevated my relationship with God because all the responsibility I have now, I have to go to God, and so I like where I am in my relationship with God more as being a married man and being a
That's
father.
huge.
So it's a lot that goes into it. I don't want to spend all the time, but yeah, good.
No,
I,
it's
I, I highly
huge.
suggest it.
I agree wholeheartedly. I feel like I was never gonna be able to become the man I truly believe God wants me to be without my wife.
Yeah.
Like when that happened for my life, that was like the pivotal moment of my life. I didn't realize how pivotal it was.
One of the words.
boy,
Yeah, one of
creative
them words.
word.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna get it. Uh, but yeah, I didn't realize how important it was until like, I look up and look back now, and I'm just like, man, like she got me together. Whether it was actually her getting me together or just my mindset because of her, like, okay, I gotta get it together a little bit more now because, you know, I gotta make sure she's okay. at all times. Like she got to be at the front part of my mind at all
All the
times.
time. Yeah.
And so it's like I really agree wholeheartedly with what you said about how like you feel more fulfilled as a man, like
Yeah.
now that you're have this other person to care for, and I'm getting into the hopefully the next step of having that dependent to follow my taxes soon.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
Uh,
good.
but like I know that's a whole nother level to be unlocked that I know you're you know seeing now, which is like I'm excited. I'm more excited for that because it's and my wife asked me a couple weeks ago. She was like, why do you want to have kids? Like, I just want to get your answer. And she's good for asking me like the most random questions at any time.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave something here, like when I leave this world, or I want to be able to see something that we made together that we can call like truly ours. Like I don't know, it's a feeling that I it's like a professing of our love together. I literally wrote a song kind of like about that, like a quick song.
Yeah.
Um just about as far as like I feel like the most true expression of love as far as a marriage or relationship is like when you have a child, something that you can like name. It's like almost naming your love in a sense.
Mm.
Like I
Mm.
love this person so much that I'm willing to create another person, and that's our love together. That
That's the
represents our
artist in him, by the
Yeah.
way. That
Yeah.
was
That was
yeah,
good.
that was poetic.
yeah. So I mean, I'm excited for that, and I love kids, so I'm a kid
Yeah.
guy. I love kids.
I mean, and like I think of marriage and family as like the ultimate way to experience love. Because when you think of how God shares His love with us, He refers to us as His bride and as His children.
Mm,
And it's like once you have those two things, you can kind of relate more to like, oh, this is what
I
God
love that.
is saying. Yeah. So
That's awesome. I love that.
like me, I've always wanted to have kids, even like when I was a kid. Like I've always wanted to be a dad. So I don't even know all the reasons why. But like I kind of think of like the relationship that I want to have with them. I just think I'm gonna just be the best dad. Like I had a
Mhm,
great relationship. Well, I have a great relationship with my dad.
mhm,
But as always, it could be improved upon. And
mhm.
I just kind of think of those areas, like,
Yeah.
and I just like, man, like if I love my dad, I can only imagine how much my kids gonna love me. Like, 'cause I'm gonna be
I'm a
there, boy.
yeah.
So
Exactly.
I kind of think about that, and like we having a boy, I'm excited about that because,
Man, that's so dope. That's
like,
so dope.
as I said earlier, like I couldn't just snatch the thing off of Taylor's finger, but boy, that boy gonna be tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm have that boy ready, so when he go into the world, he gonna be ready. Like
That's it,
he
man. That's
gonna be
it.
ready.
First of all, I want to say thank you to Leonard for having a boy. Cause the first boy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
other I got
True.
other
Man.
nieces. This
Yeah,
is the first boy.
yeah, that's the first boy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about time. I'm gonna roast my oldest brother about not being able to have a boy. Uh, it's not really a problem for anyone who hears. It's just jokes. We play around too
Well,
much in
yeah,
this
we got a lot of
family.
jokes.
Yeah.
So
But Miles, as an unmarried man, like, what are you expecting from marriage? Like, what is something you
shoot.
expect to feel, receive, gain, or
Mhm.
what's your thoughts on it?
To be honest with you, uh, now I do work to think positively, generally speaking. But
Mhm.
one of the things that I think about in marriage is like it's probably just because of how often I've heard it. It's like the struggle that goes into it.
Mhm.
It makes me nervous because I want the successful relationship. I want to be 80 years old with my wife of 50 years.
Mhm.
Like I want to experience that, but I can't lie. I'm nervous about all the things that could create headache in the midst of it. And
Mhm.
I'm not good with confrontation.
Mhm.
I
Mm,
hate it.
you better start practicing.
Exactly. It's
Man.
yeah. So yeah, that's I can't say too much right now, but
Mhm.
and so I think about that, but at the same time, I like right now in business, I can think of how amazing it would be to have that one person that is 100% on my side,
Mhm.
period. Like no matter what, they are 100% going hard for me just because they've agreed that that's, you know, what they're going to do. And I'm like, that would be amazing for different things. And then I think
Mm,
about how amazing it would be to be able to give all my love to somebody. Like,
mm,
I don't know about anyone else, but I enjoy when I'm able to provide for someone. I
mhm,
enjoy when I'm able to do something for someone. I I don't even know how to explain it. But when I know I am being a positive influence, a positive impact on someone's life, like that gives me life.
mm,
Like I love it. Like do something good is I could literally talk for an hour about that, but it's
mhm,
something that I need. I need to be able to do that. So to have someone to give all of that to all the time, I can see that as being amazing.
mm,
And I don't know what all I'm looking for. I don't know what all I expect out of it. I expect that one day amazing things come from it. Like the examples that I have, like he mentioned our parents been married 30 plus years.
mhm,
My mom's parents have been married like my entire life. He's married now. My oldest brother's now been married for 10 years. Um, Even like your parents were married most of my life. Like for the
mhm.
most part, when I look around at the married couples, I've seen and I've heard of how amazing it can be. And I'm like, man, I want that. Like I
Yeah.
really want that. One thing that made me want to be married, not to bring a sad moment into it, but I realized just how important it is to have that person on your side. A few years ago, we go down to Mississippi um, because my great grandmother was literally on her dying bed.
Mhm,
We were there when she passed. So we go there the day before she passes, and we see her, and like it's great to see her. And the day that she passed, it's funny. My dad walked in, and my dad has of course gained weight since he was a little kid. She
mhm.
can't really talk too well, so she points at him, and she says how big his stomach got, and she just started smiling and laughing like, "Yo, she's literally on her deathbed
Clowning.
roasting you right now, bro." Like,
You got to
right,
live with that.
literally, right? So again, we make a lot of jokes, y'all. Like
Yeah.
we will get roasted in the worst possible situations in this family. Because if she's making jokes when she's literally dying, like nothing and no one is safe. But anyways,
Mhm,
um, in that moment, my dad is there looking at the the matriarch of the family, and when his mother wasn't always the best mother, like before she really got saved and became the granny that I know and love,
mhm,
it was my great grandmother that was really holding things down, right?
mhm,
And she passes, and I'm just looking at how my mom is there for my dad.
mm.
And I'm like, yo, one day I'm gonna go through this too. I can't go through this without somebody that
Yeah,
there
Man,
next
you're
to
right
me.
about that. Yeah.
man.
Like I can't imagine myself going through that without having a wife.
Mm.
And if I did, I can only I don't think I like the way I would respond. The way
Yeah.
like in that hard time, the way I would go through that. And
Mhm.
so seeing that, I was like, yo, a wife has got to be the greatest thing God ever gave to man.
Yeah.
Like flat out, it's
Yeah.
got to be.
Nothing wrong.
Man, I
So
feel
that's
that,
what I
man.
think about when I think of, one day
Yeah,
having
and
a wife.
that's and it's really it's genuinely moments like that, and it's funny. I was just like any conversation we had, me and my wife had a long time ago. And, she'll like I said, she'll ask me questions all the time, and she'll say something about like, what's her favorite thing about me, and then, I'll say some of the same things, but then I'll try to add something different in there sometimes.
And I
Or if I'm
hate those
annoyed
questions,
enough,
by the way.
yeah, if I'm annoyed enough, I'm just like, I don't know, I'll just mess with. But one thing I told her, I was just like, I just enjoy your presence. I just enjoy you being in the room with me and me knowing that you're there. And like
Yeah.
this person, like it sounds weird, but I know guys, married guys, they understand like just having that person there with you and just knowing just in the back of your mind, like this is my person. This person is gonna hold me down to the earth. And I can sit in the room with you and be happy, like, and we may not even utter a word to each other, but we're so relaxed, and to be able to be comfortable with somebody and be my full self with
Hmm.
somebody, like every part of me, like she knows everything about me. I know everything about her. And it's just like that is a beautiful thing in regards to like a union and being vulnerable, having a wife to be vulnerable with truly. And whatever grievances or concerns, however vulgar you have to be, however whatever spectrum you're on emotionally, you can get to that person. And my wife, I can entrust her with it, and I know that she has my best interest at heart, regardless of how bad I drop the ball in some places, or how emotional I could be about
Yeah.
something. Like that's just powerful, man.
Yeah, you
It's
said
powerful.
be your full self because we PKs over here and you PK in
Damn.
my opinion too. So
Hmm.
hey, everything you do is scrutinized, it's watched, it's under a microscope. Like
Everything,
everything you do, like I got braids. It took me 33 years to get braids. I hate these
man.
braids, bro. You know
Listen,
what I'm saying? I hate 'em.
listen.
Like everything, like you can't do nothing,
Uh
right?
huh.
And like just having somebody where you could just finally be like, this is who I am. Is it okay to
Yeah,
be this person? And they be like, yeah, it's okay to be this person. That means the world, yo.
man. I'm telling you, man.
Cause I
Like
can't
when
do I can't do stuff, bro. If I do something, it's okay. This is Pastor Brown's kid. This is what
mhm.
Pastor Brown look like.
you
Like
you
no,
when you get your wife Miles and you're able to tell her how you really feel about something, and you could just really say it, like
yeah.
how you really want to say it, and like she knows you well enough to be like, I get it, or she'll be
Well,
on
she
page
gonna
with you,
agree.
or she gonna agree. Ain't no better feeling in the world, man. I'm telling you, I'll be like, man, I'm tired of it. And she be like, I'm tired of it too. And we bonding over what we tired about.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah,
just little things about that. It's a blessing. I truly don't take it for granted. And what I'll say is like, even in relationships, some that are past or that are gone or separated in any sense, I glean from everything. And just like you said, having examples and like having that foundation of like people around you that you can glean from positively, like it's invaluable, bro.
yeah,
Before you get married, because like it helps you weed out, like it gives you shortcuts to certain things. And not to say that you won't deal with hardships and times, like, because trust me, like I feel like most people in most marriages, at least the ones that I've spoken to, like they've told me like, oh, we had some knockdown drag out moments, and like
yeah.
I've had them with me and my wife, like not physically, obviously we don't even get into that, because I still gotta I got still other people, John is pretty big. I don't think I want to I don't think I want to
I'll just
ever do
roll up.
anything like that. But like they, luckily enough, and I'll get into that part, actually there's something I want to add on to it,
Mhm.
um but yeah, having like those moments happen. But what I've learned, because just like you said earlier, the confrontation was rough. It's rough for me. I don't like to be confrontational with people, but I've had to learn, and literally, my wife has taught me how to be like, okay, most of the stuff I'll let roll off of me, which I'll still do, and some things to me still aren't, like Leonard said before, still aren't that big of a deal, but certain things that actually she knows that, like, I know that bothered you. You just probably didn't want to say anything because you didn't want to get into this conversation. And it taught me like I need to speak. I need to say things. I have to. And sometimes it's going to get confrontational and it might get ugly. And I might say some things that I may not mean because I'm dealing with emotions or dealing with, struggling. She may say some of the same things, but all that needs to get out in the open
Yeah,
in order for it to be fixed, in order for us to become even stronger. It's like when you break a bone in your hand, when you practice, or and that when that bone remends, it remends stronger. So
yeah,
yeah, there's some pain and stuff that goes into it, but it's necessary in order to, and that's what I believe sometimes a lot of people miss, and why some relationships go asunder, because they don't work on those little things or those moments to where it may get confrontational now. And to even say face to the children or anything like that, your children need to see you fight sometimes and
mhm,
see you at odds with each other, so they know like, oh, we can reconcile. Like after a fight happens, like, oh, we can actually get it together. And I didn't see that enough as I had liked to growing up. Well, looking back, of course. to be able to see like reconciliation happening on a scale. And I believe like my wife has helped me through that,
Mm.
because she won't let something go, and we got to talk about it, or we got to eventually get to it. And if it gets bad a little bit, we'll come back, and like it never fails. We always come back, and we come back stronger, and we learn from it, and we're like, okay, this doesn't happen again. So it's a lot to it, but I believe it's worth it. You'll see that it's worth it. And like, I don't want that to be a fear for you, in the sense of like, I'm scared of those times, because I mean, it's gonna feel scary in the moment, but it's gonna be so freeing once you come to reconcile again, to know that, oh, this person really is truly for me. Like they have the best at heart for me, and I know I have the best at heart for them. So we're always gonna come to that median, and eventually get to a point to where we can reconcile and move forward. So it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, we seen plenty of confrontation because my dad would be like, "Watch this, watch this," and then
It's funny because I can see him doing exactly that too. That's so crazy.
he'd be like, "Watch this," and he called my mom in the room.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't see that. Like, one thing I had to learn, and this learn this before we got married, because we did counseling for a long time, and I highly suggest it for anyone. Like, it's not like it don't mean things are bad when you go into counseling. It just helped us learn to communicate. One thing I learned is like she can tell me what she don't like about me. She can tell me what's hurting her. She can tell me what she needs from me, and none of that means that she don't love me or don't like me. That's hard because I'm hearing all this stuff and I'm ready to give you a list of receipts of what I do for you. And that's how that's how I used to be. It was like, oh, you ain't gonna tell me this. I do this. Like, here's the receipt.
That's wild.
And it's like that's not. I didn't say you didn't do none of that, and that's hard to hear. But it is so hard for me to hear where I'm falling short, because I pride myself on being the best husband there is. Like, I prize myself on that. So when you tell me I'm falling short somewhere, that hurt my ego. But she just telling me like, this is what I need.
Yep.
So I've had times when she's talking to me and she's complaining, and I'm just telling myself she still loves me. She still loves me, to the point I don't even hear what she's saying. But I gotta remind myself, because if I don't, I'm gonna go off on her. So that's just my little free advice
That's
for
crazy.
anybody in any stage.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's stuff that I need, because like I said, I hate like confrontation. And one thing I'm not looking forward to, it's if you've paid attention to people that are married, you know what's gonna happen. That person gonna tell you how bad you suck.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking forward to dealing with again in my life, Miles, you're not good enough. Like that's how I'm going to interpret it, is you're not good enough. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But
But you gotta realize, like, literally the same thing with me. Like, it's happened. Literally, my wife can tell you, like, it's happened to where I'm taking it like that, and I get into a depressive mode because I'm just like, I feel like I'm a good person, and it's
Great.
so conflicting because you feel like you. But the thing is, it's weird to say, but being a good person isn't enough. Like, just because you're a good person, I mean, we know that even when it comes to biblically and everything, it's not. It's it's about uh it's about seeing the other person, and also validating it, what it is that they think or believe, and then also seeing that they don't mean harm to you, but you can never tell somebody how to feel, or as much as you want to feel how things should go, you can't. How you made them feel is how you made them feel, and it's just like, it's tough because you like, I really didn't mean that. I really didn't, like, that was farther from the truth. And I'm apologizing for. I'm like, do I feel like I really need to be apologizing right now? And I promise you're gonna ask yourself that one day whenever you meet that's someone and they complain about something you did, that you're like, wait a minute, what? I do this all the time. Like, what's going on? But it's like, marriage does keep you on your toes, and you're constantly evolving with this person too as well. So things change, like something that she may not have paid attention to more so in the past, maybe something that knew her, or a newer version of her, same her, but just different firmware update. uh but so you gotta stay in constant communication. You gotta constantly roll with the punches there. But I will say, like, that part of the confrontation, and like I said, it's not that it's a guarantee almost. Like
100%
it's
guarantee.
gonna happen to where you're probably gonna say something that really offends her, and she's probably
Mm,
gonna say something that really offends you,
mm,
and you have to like go back in your mind and remind yourself, okay, like I, where did this come from? I need to make sure I express to her with a calm mind and not a defensive one, like how this made me feel, and genuinely, and then even in that, sometimes they won't even get it the first time, and
Yeah,
you can come as sincere as possible, but you got to go back, and that's where God comes in. And being a Christian is the best thing. I recommend it to everybody. Uh,
highly recommend. 10
praying
out of
and be
10.
like, okay, God, like, in God, in due time, and like, I know we're gonna get to a better spot in that, and we're gonna get to a better understanding. So it is scary, and it's gonna happen, but I rather everybody be upfront and truthful about it, so that we don't think it's the end of the world, to where like it's so hidden, like, you know, a lot. One thing I respect about my auntie and uncle is they'll get into little spats, like, even, and growing up with them, they'll be disagreeing about something, and they'll let the little argue go, and it won't be nothing crazy, but like, seeing them, like, because when you see them as a child in such a huge light, like, oh, these are these people, I love them, they're my
mhm.
pastor, my first lady, but you see them like they're just
Human.
like us. They
Yeah,
they deal with the same thing, like, and but they've learned, and you can tell like the maturity of the relationship you've in, like, even with your parents, they've learned how to, like, okay, we can have this disagreement real quick, and but we can move past this. Like, this ain't gonna be like, when I've literally been reminded of my mind after a conversation or a disagreement I had with my wife, it was something similar to what I've heard them, like, had a discussion about, and we took it to a whole nother level. And I'm just like, we're just young. We're trying to figure this thing out. I'm just like, I was just like, wait a minute, we're just trying to figure this thing out, because but it comes with time, like, and really, really, what I want to say is, like, all that is just an investment. It's an investment into, like, we've built this thing for 7 years now. I will be damned to let this thing go for any reason, because,
I
like,
feel you.
all the
Yeah.
energy, time, prayer,
Woof.
tears, everything that I've been
And
through,
money invested.
exactly, money, whatever it is, to build this together with her, I cannot trade it. I don't care who comes my way. Like, this is what this is more important than anything. This is a huge accomplishment, because when you get two people from two different worlds, essentially, because you grew up in different circumstances, and bring them together and be able to build something that lasts, even when we don't see a lot of it lasting around us on a lot of occasion, like, that's more important to me than
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
Hey, you said two different worlds, and I'm just reminded of me and Gina, we've been together since 2020, so we got a little bit of longevity. I ain't,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
got a little couple
Y'all
years.
been doing your thing.
Hey, but so listen, man, we struggle with miscommunication, like, but I've learned to accept that, and we had to just take some time to really make sure we understand each other. So, like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you an example. She had her phone. She was trying to do something. She wanted me to get to the voicemail. So, Superman, I get to the voicemail. I figure it
Superman
out.
voicemail.
I figure it out. I get to the
Hmm.
voicemail. I press play on it. She tells me, I don't want it. Delete it. So I delete it. And she look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, what? She's like, I can't believe you just did that. And I'm like, you just said I don't want it deleted. And she said, I don't want it deleted.
Oh,
And I was like, yo,
Oh, that's done.
what?
You're done now.
It is like, so she's looking at me because she clearly just told me one thing, but I clearly
Hmm.
just heard another, and that's like our go-to now. Every time we get miscommunication, we always remember that one time. But I was really feeling good about myself, and she looked at me like I was crazy. So yeah, you coming from
Dude,
different
that's a
worlds, communicate completely different, and
hmm.
it's a retraining of everything. And that's
Hmm.
yeah, I don't want to delete it.
That's crazy. But I mean, it's just as simple as, like, just the way you say something, like, and it's funny. we have this, and we have this conversation a lot. Like the other day, we were talking about something. I can't really put my finger on exactly what it was, and she was like a little bit bothered by what I said. And I was just like, well, let me explain to you what I meant. And she was like, oh, that's what you meant. Oh, okay, my bad. I was clearly thinking something else. And I'm just like, no. So even 7 years in, it's just like you gotta make sure you gotta make sure because one thing about women, we won't go on the men and women thing too much, but I will say this: my women that they if something happens in the day, like it'll just one thing, it'll ruin the whole day. Like
Mhm.
like
Rodney hates women.
whatever. I
Black
hate
women.
all. No,
Black
I'm just
women. Rodney hates black women.
kidding. No, false narrative, guys. Hold on,
Oh my
but
bad. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you know, and I'm sure they're gonna have great comebacks here for this in comment section. But what I will say is, if one thing happens, like it'll mess up the whole day. And I'm all for like, okay, let's like look at the grand scheme of everything today. Like, yeah, we maybe had a little issue here, but like, we had a weekend planned. Like, let's allow the day to go forward and have a good time. Let's get over this spec. But I was missing the ball there of like the importance of how I make this person feel in any instance. And so it just all goes back to the communication piece of like, if I know that that's now that I know that that's a something that can happen, I got to make sure like, okay, look, if I want to have a good day, let me make sure that whatever I did in the morning, we got to get this out of the way. If we got to argue real quick and then finally get to, because before me, I was just like, look, I don't even want to get into it. But then I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, now she's upset the whole day and she's kind of like, not communicating well. I'm just like, what's going on? I'm like, nah, we got to get to the bottom of it now so I can enjoy the rest of the day. So, I mean, I love y'all.
That's
I love all
noted.
y'all.
That's
But
noted.
that's how it goes.
I appreciate the notes, fellas. I
Yeah.
appreciate you. You got something you want to
Yeah,
say?
Yeah, it's on you, man. Go ahead.
Listen, we've been here for a little over an hour. I don't want to hold y'all all day because we can chat forever. So,
we can.
y'all have any last words? Any last words?
Uh, I don't know, but fellas, just let me know what I can pray for y'all for on this coming week, and I'll make sure I get that done.
And we're gonna say this right now. Okay, you can pray. The people that watch this can pray. I believe in prayer. I need some
Absolutely.
money. You feel me? Nah. More specifically, though, I am growing my business as a
Mhm.
speaker, and it not only am I looking to be paid, but it is actually fulfilling to minister to folks and to actually help them. So, more speaking engagements is always what I'm looking for, and then
Mm.
from there, more teaching opportunities.
I got you.
Yeah, man. I mean, just really for me, it's just guidance on the next steps. I feel like I'm in a transitional period this year. I actually told my wife before the year began, like, that's what I feel like the trajectory of our year will be for this year. So it's going to be a lot of changes, but I think it's going to be things for the better. So really just more specifically, business. I think I'm moving into that this year. And then also, just with my current job situation, I think it may be time for maybe a change because I feel myself getting complacent in certain areas. And,
Woo!
and, and
That's next week's
being,
episode. Cause boy,
yeah, man. Yeah. That's next week's episode for sure. But yeah, just really that because I think that's gonna really round up things for me. It's gonna make me definitely so definitely get things more on track with the future of my family as well. So yeah, just pray for that for me,
What
mm.
about
man.
you?
Shoot. Just pray my health and strength in the Lord. No, I'm just
Hey,
I don't know, man. I guess specifically right now, I kind of feel like Junior. I'm making changes, trying to see where I want to go, what I want to do, as far as making moves. So just pray, hear the Lord clearly,
yeah,
make the
pray
right
for
choice.
direction for sure.
All right, noted. I'll definitely be in
Yeah,
prayer. All right. This is something I say all the time, anyways. And so you see my little thing at the bottom. Where was it at? My name right there. It
there you
says do
go.
something good. I believe that selfishness creates the world that we hate. I also believe that when we are intentional about the good that we do, we can create the world that we love. So for anyone who sees this, no matter where you are, no matter what time of day, find somebody and find a way to do something good. So there's that. With that being said, I got a question for y'all.
Was that like the
Mhm.
benediction?
Yeah, somewhat. That sounds like a
Yeah,
benediction.
yeah, yeah. This is benediction. Just had a good little church service. Um, this part gonna be cut out, so this is really just for y'all, for real.